Well, we told you about this outrageous story yesterday. A first grader was a minute late to school and made to sit behind this cardboard divider separated from the other students at lunchtime. So is this punishment just fine or way over the line? Joining us now for a debate, Dr. Chuck Williams is an educational psychologist and the director of graduate studies at Lincoln University. He's opposed to this type of punishment, and Tom Kirsting is a psychotherapist and a school counselor. I think it's okay. All right, gentlemen, nice to see you both this morning. Tom, I want to start with you.
Thanks for having me.
Was this meant to teach this child a lesson, or was it meant to shame this student?
Well, first of all, I don't think it was okay. I don't think the school should actually be doing this, putting a kid behind a partition. What I have a bigger problem with is, I think, part of the story that nobody has really looked at, the fact that the parent and the grandmother took a photo of this and placed it all over Facebook. And now it's content that's all over the world right now. So if we're worried about the child, I feel bad for this kid. He should not be isolated, first of all. But now, with millions of people looking at it, the problem is just compounded, and it's even worse. That's the issue I have a larger problem with.
Well, that's a great point. There's a couple of things we can unpack here, Dr. Williams. The idea, though, that this kid was forced to sit there, I mean, it looks like shaming to me. After all, he's not the one driving the car to get to school. He's in first grade.
And Clayton, this gets to the core of the problem of education in this country. We have way too many people who are working with children who are not compassionate, who don't understand them, and who would engage in this kind of behavior, which is all about shaming. It's not about shaping or modifying their behavior. And like you said, a 6-year-old is not responsible for getting to school on time because they can't. A parent has to be held accountable for that. And to have that kid sitting in a cafeteria by himself, so the whole school can taunt him. And as my colleague mentioned, the bigger issue is the fact that the mom and the grandmother decided to post a picture of it on Facebook, which could lead to cyberbullying, and that's an even bigger problem.
Yeah, and furthermore, you know, we don't want to blanket this and blame the entire education system for this incident. The schools definitely should not have done this. They should have found a better alternative, have the kid in a classroom to make up his homework. They're claiming that they weren't trying to isolate him. They weren't using this as a punishment. It was more for him to make up schoolwork. The photo said something differently.
Yeah, but what does it say? How will this affect this kid? I mean, you guys deal with the children, the psychology of children. He's in first grade. He was sitting there crying the whole time.
Yeah.
Is he going to be left with this his whole life, guys?
Real quick, he was crying. Another thing that I read, I don't know if anybody saw this, he was crying at home as well. After his 5th or 6th late, because he did not want this to happen. He was telling his mom, please get me to school on time. So we have to keep that in mind. Yes, the school should not have done that, but we need to, parents have to come to the table here too. We can't blame everything on the school all the time.
Dr. Williams?
Well, but this is not about holding the parent accountable. The parent wasn't sitting behind a partition, in the cafeteria. It was about the 6-year-old sitting there.
Yep.
And again, if you want to change behavior, and we all know this, it's about approaching it from a positive aspect, not a negative aspect. This was just a very, very horrible thing and a poor decision.
Yeah,
no
zero
question
tolerance
about
policy. This blanket policy, and with a first grader putting it up there. Here's what the school said, though, and I want to read their statement before we let you guys go. The parents' concerns were politely discussed, and ultimately the issues were resolved to the satisfaction of both parents and the school. That's the Grants Pass School District there. Great to see both of you this morning. This debate will continue on our Facebook page this morning because many thousands of you weighed in on it.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, guys.